I had 3 partners, original 3 productions. That's how I found funding from an investor in New York all the way out from LA and funded a feature film. And I was changing out toilet paper rolls on TV sets as a production assistant. And I found the guy who was walking around set on flip-flops. And I was like, that dude is not working hard. Like, that's the guy who can make a decision. His name was Ben Hada. By the way, that guy works so hard. But he was the supervising producer, and I walked right up to that guy and sat down with him. Phenomenal, man. I will never forget some of the advice that he gave me. Best advice he ever gave me was squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Mm.
And he meant, if you don't say what you want to do, ain't no one listening, and no one's going to tell you how they got there. So you need to be noisy. And I asked him, how do I be you? I'm like on set as a production assistant with a trash bag full of toilet paper rolls that I need to go run up and fill. And that was season 1 of A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. And season 2, I was story producer. And I went from making, $19 an hour on set to $1,200 a week, but unlimited hours. Like, just so I used to sleep on set. And I was writing and I was producing. We were doing commercial competitions and submitting them, and we were trying to make this feature film and trying to sell it. And I learned hustle. I learned what it felt like to get stabbed in the back. I learned how to have thick skin. I learned how to navigate people who only want something from you. That's the only time they're going to talk to you, is if they can get something from you. And so I learned how to talk. I also learned a lot about technology and editing and video and media. And then when I was approaching that 10-year mark, I realized I'm not helping anybody but myself. I had this like existential moment. I actually had a dream. I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married. I had a dream. I woke up in a cold sweat. My son, who was small, must have been like 3 or 4 in my dream. I don't know, just a little kid, walked up to me and said, "Daddy, what do you do for work?" And I froze. I didn't know what to tell them because I didn't want to glorify my job and make them go into Hollywood and try this machine where I've seen people like the whole story is about like seeing people snort white powder off of a toilet seat. Like, I've seen that shit.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I didn't want to glorify that industry. It's not all bad. It's not all bad, but I just didn't want him to do that. But I also didn't want to own up to my kid in this dream that I was doing something that it didn't make me happy, and to face the question, well, then why are you doing it? I wake up in this cold sweat, and that began the transition change for me. It was like year 7 or 8. And by that time, I had ended up on TV. I was like with Sci-Fi, NBC Universal. I was working with Jack Osborne, and I just realized, like, I don't think I'm serving anybody, helping anybody. And then I got married to my high school sweetheart. She moved out to LA with me, and I was like, we got to move back home. And I decided that I was going to become a firefighter. And I was like, maybe I can help people and do some medical stuff. Firefighting is secure. I'll have a pension, and I don't need a degree. And so that was the transition. That's how I decided to go into medical, and I moved back to Arizona.